Hey everyone, this is Greg Davis of Azola Creative, and today I'm going to talk to you about the band Kiss because I think they are a great representative of how to just go all in, believing in a product idea that you have, and really playing to win. There's an old quote that I've heard that said, there are some football teams that play to win, and there's some that play just not to lose. And so you look at the way that teams play, and there are some that are out there, the decisions they make, who they recruit, who they pay for, and you're like, they're just hoping that they don't lose. But then there's others that are all in, and sometimes they trade players that you think, why would they trade that player? They're amazing, but it's because they saw a bigger vision and they're playing to win. So with Kiss, I love their origin story because it just shows. Obviously, they're known for just all of the theatrics and they've just wrapped up their finale as a band, as a touring band, I should say, and they've been able to last since the early '70s and be relevant. And it's like they've gone through all kinds of different changes over that time, but they've always been about marketing their band. And so I think that if you were to look at how you can market your business the way that Kiss would market themselves as a band, you can go far. So I'm just going to kind of talk today about their origins because when they were together, so there was a got to go a little bit back. Late '60s, early '70s. Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley are in a band that's called Wicked Lester, and they had been signed to Epic Records. I believe it was Epic maybe put one album out, but then they weren't very happy with it. They rejected any other albums, and so Wicked Lester kind of reformed. So Gene Simmons saw an ad in, I think it was, when I say Variety, that said something about drummer willing to do anything it takes to make it. And that turned out to be Peter Criss, who ultimately became the drummer of Kiss. And so they had auditioned him. He came into the band. Then they brought in Ace Frehley. And I've heard this story, I should say Ace Frehley. I've heard Ace Frehley describe how he says his name. People call it Frehley. They call it Frehley. He calls it Frehley. So I'll try to stick with what he says. So anyway, Ace Frehley comes in. There's a guy named Bob Kulick who is auditioning at the time. He's kind of the presumed new member of the band, hadn't been called Kiss yet, but he's kind of the presumed new member of the band. Ace Frehley walks in during Bob's Kulick's audition, plugs in, and just starts playing and kind of drowns out Bob Kulick. So Ace Frehley winds up becoming the lead guitarist for Kiss. Now, Bob Kulick went on to have a long career with working with Kiss in different elements, as well as his brother Bruce Kulick ultimately joined the band years later. But it's just funny to think of the idea of how just the guts that Ace Frehley had to come in and do that. I mean, I'm sure it rubs some people the wrong way too, but that was that rock and roll energy that he brought to the band. So anyway, so the band comes together. They change their name from Wicked Lester to Kiss. And they go out and they do their first show. Now, this is what I think was so fun, is that nobody knows them. They're starting off, I believe at this point they probably are doing a little bit of makeup, but they're probably trying to be a little bit more like New York Dolls, and they didn't quite have their signature look yet. But they're doing their first gig. So what do? They actually make it this experience as though they are the stars. They're playing just some small club in New York. They rent spotlights. They rent limos. They do everything to make it this huge event. Can you imagine spotlights just parked on the side of the street, waving around, trying to get people's attention, and they show up in limos, and they probably don't have two nickels to rub together. But they do all this fanfare because they wanted just to establish this idea that they are the real deal, they're the stars, and they're bigger than just what you see tonight. That to me is inspiring for anybody out there when you're trying to do anything from launching a new product to trying to just build a business or trying to grow your career. It's the idea of, it's a little bit of that fake it till you make it, but going into something where you just really don't let the fact that you're small bother you, and don't let the fact that you're small represent you. You go big, act big, be big, have something to back it up with, by all means. I mean, don't just go out there and be a fraud, but go out there and just own it. Years ago I was playing a gig and, excuse me, and I remember this band that opened up for us. They were out of Chicago. Again, nobody knew them, but man, they blew everybody away. And we were headlining that night, I believe. And I mean, it was, they blew us away. Like, they owned that stage. They got up there and they performed as though they were the biggest band in the world. And it taught me a lesson as far as the fact that they had that ability to do that, just, balls to the wall type of idea, and just go in there and do it. So I think the same thing goes for anything that we do. If you believe in it, don't just believe in it. Make everyone else believe in it too. I mean, that's really your job as a marketer. It's to make everyone else believe in that idea. And again, you want to make sure that it has quality to back it up, but don't be shy. I get people that kind of are intimidated by email marketing sometimes because they feel like they don't want to bug somebody, or they almost don't want to do marketing in certain ways because they feel like they're going to get in the way of something and almost like turn people off. And I understand there are some tactics and there are some ways to be tactful about the way that you communicate with people. But the reality is that you have to believe that what you're selling is the cure to whatever ails you. If you have a cure for a disease, you better shout it from the rooftop. You better be out there just broadcasting it to everybody. This is it. This cures it. And so if you have a product that you're trying to market, whether it's your own or somebody that you work for, you have to believe that way. You have to put it out there as though this is a solution. So I'd be doing an injustice by not communicating this to you. Again, you have to do it tactful, but I think people are willing to hear a good message if it really is something that can be a cure for them. So if you're interested in learning more about KISS, regardless of if you're into their music, I mean, there's all kinds of different views around, fandom when it comes to the band KISS. They're controversial, but their story and the way that they were able to market themselves again and again and again over, 50 years, that's pretty amazing, and that's worth checking out. Hey everyone, thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like and share it with your friends and colleagues. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to leave a comment.